Hey guys, what's up? It's John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, and I'm here with some parenting tips. If you are looking at your child and they're looking at you and they're like, can you explain the 1970s to me? All you have to do is put on All the President's Men and Saturday Night Fever and say, there you go. That's the 1970s. And then just walk away. I feel like those two films encompass so much of the 1970s. You don't really need to do anything else. I mean, you know, it's you got your Nixon in there for the whole Watergate scandal, and then you got disco, and that's really all the 70s. I wasn't around for them, so that's kind of how I feel about the 70s. So I finally decided to check that other film off the list. Anyway, we're going to dive into this review, but make sure you click subscribe because I've got a night fever, and we're going to talk about it. This is Saturday Night Fever, and I've never seen this before until now. First time. I'm a first timer. Pop that cherry. John Travolta did it. He popped it. And, it's weird because earlier I did Flashdance and now I'm doing this. And I don't know why I'm picking these films, but I'm trying to pick films that I feel like should have audio description. This does have audio description on Paramount Plus, which has also had audio description for Flashdance. So, good for them. Good, awesome. Because what I'm doing is I always talk about the website at the very end of my video. I always cite, make sure to check out the audio description project at adnA.acb.org. And I don't use it when I select my films. I try to, whenever I'm down for a random title, like Saturday Night Fever, I go to it and I click on it, and I click on something that I feel like really should have audio description, that it's earned like its status. It's earned its level of praise. It is something that feels like it has transcended time, which is what Saturday Night Fever felt like. So I clicked on it not knowing whether or not it would have audio description, and lo and behold, it did. So that is what sighted people get to do. They just get to click on films and watch them. What I want is hashtag describe everything, so that way blind and visually impaired users can just click on something and we can watch it. And we don't have to go, oh, it doesn't have an audio description track. Oh. Because sometimes we're with like family members, and then they also do that too, and they look at us like, oh, it doesn't have, are you gonna be okay? Do we have to choose something else? It's like they wanted to see that. So it's like it's this whole big thing. People, like, Hollywood just doesn't understand. So I was pleasantly surprised to find out that John Travolta's dance epic has audio description so that I could get my Bee Gees on. The film score for this is actually really dope. It really, actually, it is very 1970s, very disco, just full of all of the hits. I'm sure this is just one of those films that when you think of best soundtracks of all time, you just go Saturday Night Fever and just pop it in. It has too many hits to not be recognized. It has to be, for the same reason when I watched Flashdance, which I didn't think was a good film, and I asked my friends on socials, I said, somebody explain Flashdance to me. Pretty much everybody was just like, it's the score. it's the songs. And I was like, you can listen to the soundtrack. It's not the film. So this actually has a better film to it. This actually has a better story. Not revolutionary. However, I have to think about it from the fact that this was made before some of the stuff that I've seen. So it makes that other stuff more derivative instead. It's a young 19-year-old Travolta. Clearly he has left Mr. Cotter, and he is off on his own in the world. If you get that reference, you had an awesome, awesome life, sir, whoever you are that just got that reference. But he's off on his own, and he has a job, and he's working. He's working for the night where he can go out and dance the night away. He loves going to the disco. He's a pretty good dancer. He wants to win dance competitions and get out there on the floor and find himself the best partner to dance with. And one night he sees this one girl who's dancing outside of his style, but she's obviously a phenomenal dancer. And he's like, yo, I gotta get that. That has to be my partner. And again, it feels like we've seen this film since then, but you have to go back to the 70s and think to yourself, where maybe Step Up is not that revolutionary. You know, when you have somebody who's trained classically dancing with somebody who's trained in hip hop, the mismatch of styles. Maybe it didn't first come in something like that. Maybe it came somewhere else first, like Saturday Night Fever. He also has a dad that he argues with constantly, because his dad is an angry old bastard. Basically, his dad is unemployed, and his son has a job, and his dad is like making fun of his son for having a job and doing his thing, and meanwhile he's unemployed, and it's kind of funny. It's like the dynamic between the two of them. I'm like, this is an interesting dynamic where the dad is out of work and thus also choosing to make fun of his son. Weird. I guess I'm not supposed to like this character or sympathize with him. You know, sometimes you have that old man worker that's the father, right? He's I was let go after 40 years working in the coal mines, and now I got nothing except my unemployment. How could they do me like that? And then, like, that character is like, you're just like, damn, this story is really relevant. Thank you, Billy Elliot. Thank you for this story. That's not this. This guy's just a dick. I never related to him. Every scene he's out, it's just like, I don't know, his whole family too. It's like, they're like, I don't know what's up with this kid that we have that loves to dance and wear disco clothing. Where is my priest kid? Where is he? Where did he go? They have another son that's a priest, and they hold him in high regard. But the guy that's actually got the job, making the money, he gets a raise in the film, and everybody's just like, that's not impressive. We're not impressed. And I'm like, for the 1970s, that feels like a solid raise. Nowadays, it would be like, you got a raise. Good job. But for like the 1970s, it feels like, oh damn, all right. You can do a lot with that. So, cool. You know, because inflation, we can't control it. So sometimes when we hear a monetary amount, we have to imagine the time period and think to ourselves, what could we have bought with that amount of money back then? And the answer is a lot more than today. Today he got the raise that wouldn't really even get him a cheeseburger at McDonald's anymore, because of inflation. So I don't know. But it's all about the dance anyway, and it's all about the shirts and the flashy clothes, and he's got the friends, and this is the 70s, and cinema in the 70s was really exploring itself. Somewhere in the 60s, a lot of people would cite Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf as being sort of a benchmark moment which is a weird film. I know you wouldn't have thought that, but it is. It's a weird film because it really sort of started pushing the boundaries of R ratings, and having a need for that. And they used to play around with, like, R didn't used to be a rating. There used to be like M, and you know, just they had sort of like a mixture of confusing MPA ratings back in the day. So, but it all started with one little film that was adapted from a play that apparently nobody had read and nobody was prepared for. So when they tried to drop an F-bomb and had to be changed to "screw you," which was still of its time period, like, oh, somebody said "screw you" in a film. Be still my heart, you know. So starting with that, people really started exploring what can we do in a film and get away with in a film. So by the time we get to Saturday Night Fever, it's not just a dance movie. There's sex in this and some cursing, and by no means, we're not at like Midsummer yet, so we didn't get there, but it does push the boundaries, and you can feel like it's testing its limit. It's continuing to be one of the films that continues to push and test its limits, like most films of the 70s did. This is when we had blaxploitation. This is when we had the rise in splatter horror. You know, a lot of things happened in the 70s. So every film had that feeling that it was trying to be subversive, regardless of what genre it was in. So it's a big evolutionary time for cinema, and I can see Saturday Night Fever and how it's shaping its decade, because if it had come out in the 60s, I don't think it would be nearly where it is. But 10 years later, it is how it is. Of course, the argument could be made that 10 years later it would be even more provocative. But I don't know, maybe not. You know, nowadays, of course, it could do pretty much anything, but it would lose the effect because this is all about disco. This is so 70s. This is why it was such a big hit. To be fair, the director of this film went on to direct many other successful things. I have to cite that because I don't know why he fell off the face of the planet, and I didn't recognize his name at all. He actually had a pretty decent 1980s run. He had like War Games, Short Circuit, Stakeout. In the 90s, basically like the last thing that I saw him direct that I recognized as a feature-length film was A Nick of Time, and then he just kind of drifted into TV. And he's like the most overqualified TV director now, and he's been doing like nothing but TV episodes. And it's really she just shows up. So like a lot of shows too that I was like, what? But this guy made those films. I wonder if the actors that are on these TV shows have any idea who's directing them. Like, do you know what this guy did? Do you guys... I mean, it's not just Saturday Night Fever, but War Games is pretty classic 80s, and Short Circuit is pretty classic 80s. You know, I mean, they made 2 Stakeout films. He has, like, Bird on a Wire on there. I mean, he has some decent films on his resume. I don't know why why Hollywood was like, you shall now direct television. We will no longer allow feature-length films from you. You've been banished. Go direct an episode of Just Illegal and leave us alone. So, it's a shame. He had talent. This film shows it. I enjoyed this. Not a lot, because it's not really my time period. But I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than Flashdance, which was a lot closer to my time period. I don't really enjoy disco music. I know that's probably like a faux pas and somebody just fell over in their chair. I mean, I can listen to a song, but I would not listen to a disco radio station, if that makes any sense. Like, you can play one song and then we can move on to another genre. But if you try to immerse me in disco, it doesn't have that effect on me. I don't want to get up and do the finger pointing dance that he does in this film. The audio description here is fine for a dance film. It always gets kind of sketchy. Like, how are you describing the dance? How are you really, truly embodying the dance? There's also a lot of the style of the 70s. And I think the film does it. I think the audio description does a pretty good job. This film is not overly dialogue. It has just enough, sort of like medium. It has a medium amount of dialogue. It's not it's not an overly talkative film because it has so much dance to it. So the audio description here really is pretty good, and is able to sort of immerse you as much as it can in the dance experience without sounding like it was written by somebody who is a professional dancer from a ballet company, giving you only the technical terms for everything. So I don't know. You may like it, you may not like it. Dance films, it's up in the air. Would somebody enjoy it? If I was a dancer and I lost my vision and I was trying to watch dance movies, I don't know what that experience would be like for me, because then I would know all the technique and I would know all the questions, and I wouldn't just be like a passive enjoyer of things. I would be really into, is his leg straight? His leg needs to be straight. What's his hip movement? Like you'd be thinking about things like that, the kind of things that you always hear them talk about on like Dancing with the Stars with the judges. And to kind of break that down in an audio description, I don't know. So I don't know that everybody will enjoy this, or everybody will enjoy the audio description, or if it's for everybody. But if you just want to be able to get from point A to point B, I thought the audio description did a good job with that. So I didn't know where this film was going to land for me, because I had never seen it, and it felt very quintessentially 70s to me. But I was pleasantly surprised. This is going to feel like a low grade for this film, since it feels like a classic, but this is not bad. I'm going to go Saturday Night Fever a B+. I think it's high and remembered because of what it is and what it represents. I don't necessarily know that it is a benchmark in filmmaking. So I feel like a B+ is pretty safe. It's just an enjoyable film, a popcorn film from the genre that's stood the test of time. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Continue to subscribe so I can continue to talk about audio description. And I have a website, MagTheMovieGuy.com. You can go to Twitter, Instagram, or Threads and follow me at MagTheMovieGuy. Go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what is audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. It'll let you know who is narrating what on your favorite films and television series. Anyway, that's it for me today. I will review something else and see you guys on the other side.